Hey guys, it's day 245 and I'm trying to do a video angle here. Tell me if this is better or worse. So this week I got past the automated portion of Shopify's review process for submitting new apps to their marketplace. I'm now waiting on the full human run part of that review, which can take up to 2 weeks, so I'm dealing with that. And in the meantime, I've been building on Wix's marketplace and see what their ecosystem is like and trying to get an app submitted into their store. Before I get started today, I just want to say hi to the new followers, new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining my journey. I'm really excited that you're here with me. I want to answer questions. I want to make this journey interesting for you and give you the kind of insight and answer questions that you may have. So don't be afraid to leave some comments. I would love to be answering comments in these videos each week. And please subscribe and tell your friends. Okay, let's get into it. I had a lot of trouble with Shopify's automated reviews process. I spent days working on this one issue they kicked back to me about clickjacking. It's basically a security flag and I was doing it properly, but their system just didn't recognize it. So I went through tons of forums. I joined their Slack group for partners, been talking with their support and just really trying to figure out what's going on. Anyway, it was a really frustrating process. It took me a couple days, but I did get through it. I made a TikTok of how I was about to respond back to the support person. You might want to check that out. Basically, I just feel like it's really important to be extra kind when you're talking with support people who handle tech problems like this for companies. Their job is super, super hard. Being extra kind with them and also doing your best due diligence to make sure there's nothing else you can think of to try before you can get through a problem, just for your own sake of speed and getting things through, because anytime you involve their support, there's kind of a back and forth. Anyway, so job board is in their hands, in Shopify's hands for review. So we're going to pause on that, move over to Wix, which is another marketplace I've been trying to get into. I've had to learn a lot about how their system works, totally different from Shopify. It's a lot more flexible in some ways, but it's also clunkier, I feel like. Their support is not as good in terms of documentation, and there's a lot of dead links, and there's some missed opportunities about teaching new developers how to work on your platform. But a lot of the stuff is still the same, still have a lot of the same check marks to go through to get your app ready to go. And to learn this ecosystem, I needed to install other Wix apps. I needed to see how their settings panels worked and figure out how all of this user experience works for typical apps, and then build mine to fall in line with that so people's expectations are met. So I want to show you where I'm at with that development. Let's dive into that. All right, here is my app on Wix that I'm working on. It is definitely in a development state right now. It's not the prettiest thing and it's not fully functional, but I wanted to get this in and show you guys where I'm at. So I'm in the editor right now, and this is my widget right here. It's got a really weird color because I was testing colors, so just ignore that. But basically, users will be able to drag this in, and then let's click preview to see what this actually would look like. And like I said, it's a little sloppy because I've just kind of thrown this in here, but the functionality is just like it is on my existing site. The Apply Now button, if you remember, this is the way I want it to work. Basically, they show the job listings here. You can click Apply Now, and the panel comes up on the left. You can still review the website while you submit that content. So Wix is not going to let me quite do this exactly. So what I've had to do is basically rejigger how I render these components so that it opens in a Wix-style pop-up. So pretty much the same functionality. I'm just now playing by Wix's rules. I've got all this functionality working for users, and it was really time to figure out how to do the settings portion of this. So I basically installed a couple different apps on this development site. As an example, this is one widget called an online business card. I hit the settings and this window pops up, and this is what they're doing for their settings. I took a look at some other areas. So here's one for a Google Maps integration. Here's one for an events button, which this is a lot more, I think, what makes sense for me. So I took this view and I'm working to make my settings work like that. So when someone clicks on my widget and they hit settings, it's going to open up my settings panel, which is basically going to be a way to customize the design, customize the content, so you can change the font, you can change the color, and all of this was something new I had to build, so I've been working on plugging that in. I'm pretty close. Basically, I've got to get it so when you make these changes in here, it reflects in the back page here. I need to get these two talking with each other, so that's kind of all I have left there, and then I've got a lot of things to do with packaging the app up, making sure I can drag it on 3 or 4 times on a single page and have it function properly. So there's a lot of odds and ends I've got to get through, but the main functionality of the Wix implementation is actually already done and ready to go. To do this, I used Figma to basically plan out how I wanted my user experience to be. This is a screenshot from the Wix chat app settings, and I started basically recreating this, and that's how I created my own look. I wanted to use slightly different colors, wanted that same kind of look and feel so people are used to what my settings page is going to look like and function. So in my work this week of talking with the Wix support team and trying to figure out a couple questions I had with their platform, they kind of gave me a nice insight, which was that job boards typically don't do very well on their platform. They just historically haven't. So it was really nice of them to do that, and it kind of makes me wonder if this app is really going to succeed. I've already built all of this tech for job board stuff, so it's a really good way for me to get something out there quickly, see what the reaction is like, see how Wix development even works, and then use that to maybe build something a little more appropriate. I am fully aware that the job board concept may not be the right app for these marketplaces. I have no idea, right? So I'm experimenting, and that means that the code that I write has to be quick. I have to take shortcuts. I'm doing a lot of testing and figuring out what is the right messaging, what is the right product for finding customers. And my hope, my hypothesis from a couple of weeks ago is the marketplaces have customers waiting and I can come to them instead of trying to build my audience, which is just for me not a very easy thing to do, and I've not had a lot of success with that. So while I'm doing that, I'm trying to keep my ears open. There's some really interesting things here. One is Runicorn, which is the basically system I've made to build this job board app on these platforms. It's becoming really nice and robust and a really interesting piece of tech. It's giving me the ability to inject content in pages very easily in a way that augments an existing site. So there's a lot of opportunities for using that platform to add different things to different sites, and it's going to basically be the foundation of any marketplace app that I build if I do decide to go that way. I'm also keeping my ear out for new tech opportunities, new waves that I can maybe catch. So for instance, Cloudflare recently announced a closed beta, some tech they're working on that basically enables developers like myself to build something like a Zoom competitor. And I'm not necessarily saying that's the right thing to do, but I'm keeping my ears open for new tech that could basically be a new frontier, a new Wild West for brand new apps. And if I can get in on that, where there's excitement, there's new possibilities, that's a really interesting place to be. Shopify's been introducing some new features, so I'm trying to keep my head on when those come out and if there's something I can tap into that's brand new again. I think that's a key thing that I'm looking for. Really, this whole process has been trying, this whole time I've done this journey, it's really been trying to find where the customers are for a solution that I can provide. It's really critical that I just keep looking. This is really the hardest part. I'm like a raptor poking at the fence, trying to find the weak spots. And then once I find that, galvanizing around that and building something super cool, all this work I've done, those foundational work will help me in that process. So it's really about finding that hook and not being too disheartened when you don't find that hook. Just keep looking for the hook because it's there somewhere. I just have to find it. So it might take me more months, right? But I think I'm on the right path for testing this out. Marketplaces make a lot of sense. This specific app may not be the thing, but it is at least leading me somewhere. And one thing always leads to another in terms of startup stuff. And really, that's just the way this works. If you don't have an industry hook in where there's like customers waiting for a problem, this is the process, at least for me, is trying to find those areas of need, right? Okay, guys, that's it for this week. So I'm building on the Wix stuff. Hopefully I can get that submitted next week, maybe. I think that's possible, a little bit tough, but possible. And then maybe we'll hear back from Shopify on the review process and we can hopefully get that listing out there and start testing it in real life. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next week.